So now let me tell you about what type of documents you need in order to apply for your residency. Specifically, if you're going for, let's say, the property real estate residency permit. So first of all, when you're actually buying the property, you need to make sure that you have your foreign exchange certificate. So basically what that means is that when you send your funds here to Turkey, to your bank account here in Turkey, then once it's here, you need to go to the bank and ask them that without converting that money, so that those funds will be in foreign currency, so they should still remain in US dollars or pounds or euros. And you go to the bank and you tell them, I need a foreign exchange certificate because I'm buying property. Here's the title deed information, here's a copy of the title deed, and can you prepare that for me? And then they will do the rest. So you can, it's also called, it's in Turkish, it's called döviz belgesi. So basically dov belge, or for example. So you can say that I need this document, and with that they will prepare that for you, and make sure you tell them that you need it for residency, for residence permit, unless you're also going for citizenship. Like if you're buying multiple properties that will add up to citizenship, then they need to include both residency and citizenship as well. So they need to include those, those terms there, those articles there inside of that document that they're going to prepare. And so one copy will be given to you, and one goes directly to the title deed office, electronically, basically. So in that certificate will be mentioned the details of the property that you're going for, and then it also explains the amount that is being converted. So if you're buying the property for $150,000, then it's going to be mentioned there that 150,000 US dollars is being converted to Turkish liras, and the bank will convert that based on the central bank rate, which is the best rate that you can get in the market, and that will be automatically converted. And then when the day comes, so you should only do this when you've signed the deposit agreement and so on. Then you would go to the bank and do this. One of the issues is that you can't really open a bank account that easily here unless you are already a resident. So it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, there are ways around it. One way, obviously, is that if you come to us, and we can obviously help you and set you up with a bank account. And the other way is that the seller has to get that certificate for you, and you would need to transfer the funds to the seller, which is, before it being finalized, which is not advisable, because the seller would then convert the money in dollars to Turkish liras and then give you that certificate. So he or she would essentially, the seller would have the funds beforehand. So that's number one. Number two is the appraisal report, which is a expertise report in Turkish. You would need to have that done, which again, once you're ready to buy, you will apply for that, or the seller, you can ask them to apply for that. And then that would be done by a licensed firm. Then you would apply for an appointment at the title deed office and pay the title deed taxes, so that needs to be paid. And then if you are yourself going to not be there, let's say for the appointment, you need to give a power of attorney for your lawyer or for your representative, for your consultant to be there on that day to sign on your behalf. And now this is the title deed. This is for the first part. Now that you've obtained your title deed, right, the document that shows that this is your property, now when you go to apply for your residence permit, you would obviously need a copy of this title deed. You would need a utility bill in your name, so you would have to beforehand go to the electricity utility authorities or the water utility company, and then get your property registered in your name, that bill, and get that that first agreement, or they would give you sort of the first receipt or the bill. So you would take those documents, and that would be you just take a copy of that. Of course, you need the appraisal report photocopy. Make sure you print out all the pages, and then you need your passport photographs as well. You would need your passport copy translated in Turkish, so that is another thing that you would need. If you have children, then you would need their birth certificates, and those birth certificates needs to be apostilled if your country is part of the apostille convention. If not, then they would need to be attested and legalized from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the embassy, Turkish embassy in that country. As well, if you're married, so for the spouse, you need a marriage certificate as well. Again, apostilled or legalized, attested from the embassy and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Printed copy of the application form, health insurance for the period that you're applying for. Let's say it's a year or 2 years. And then bank statements for 6 months to show your financial status of your income and what sort of financial position you're in, just to kind of support your application. Because your application, you will be asked as to how much you're earning and so on, what is your income, and just roughly they will be asking for that information. So that is pretty much the documentation side of things. So now let me just give you a few insider tips and special advice when you're doing residence permit applications or when you're actually thinking of getting a residency in Turkey. So basically, make sure that when you do apply and your appointment date when it comes, make sure that you have like enough cash on you for that application, because a lot of times the ATMs that are nearby, they will be out of cash because everyone's going to those ATMs, and sometimes you won't have enough limit for that day. So it's just better to have the full amount in cash. So when you get your appointment, check the amount that they're asking for and have a little bit more than that amount in cash on you just on that appointment to avoid any problems. Next thing is that the appointment date. So when you're applying for the residence permit initially, in Antalya, for example, it's very fast. You'll get the appointment these days right now in less than a week. So in 4 or 5 days, you will get the appointment. Again, this is changing. Before like almost a month ago or 2 months ago, they were taking a month to give appointments, and now it's very quick now. Istanbul is again almost a week, 2 weeks, so it's still not that bad, and it's been like that for a few months now. It's been pretty stable in that regard. So that's for the appointments, right? And then the other thing is, once you file your application, you need to make sure that you're keeping track. They do take your email and your phone number, but again, I mean, most people don't even get any messages or emails. So you have to go online, just type in Google, Ikamet, başvurusu takip. So basically, status, Ikamet status, application status, and then type in your application number and the phone number and the email address that you provided in the application, the exact application number and email address and phone, and then you can check your status. Make sure you check it like after you apply. Keep checking it like every week, every couple of weeks. Especially at the beginning, maybe you can check it a few times, every 2 weeks or something. But once they actually start, once you see that update that it's under review, in the beginning you'll see something that it hasn't even started yet. So it might take a month for them to actually, get your application and enter it into the system. So once they start doing that, then you need to, once it's under review, then you need to keep checking it every week, because what happens is that if there's a missing document, if there's something out of order, they will mention it. You will on that status page. So they will say that there's a missing document or whatever, or there's a problem. And then from that point on, you have 30 days or whatever, like depending on the situation, you have a specific amount of time that you need to take that, take that missing document or clarify that information at the ministry. So if you don't do that, your application can be canceled and then you're out of luck. So this is a issue that I've seen with people that they just, they didn't check it, they didn't get a message, they were just waiting without checking, and then, the application got canceled, even though everything was in order. They just had to provide some small, document update or whatever it was, right? So make sure you do that, guys. So that's it, folks. Thank you once again for watching and staying with me this far. If you found this to be useful, please support the channel and click subscribe down below. Leave some comments and feedback, and hit like on the video too, and see you next time.